I wanted to say a little bit more about this pretty little quartz arrowhead I found in Rainham. Yeah, I came across this discussion on arrowheads.com about small stem points and scrapers that ain't. And I was pleased to find an intelligent discussion and a picture of an arrowhead that's not a bad match for the one I just found, except I think maybe it's not that good a match if you look at the details. I'll get to that in a few moments, but I just wanted to say how nice it is to run into people who have collected around here and have thought hard about the meaning of things. And so these guys here at arrowheads.com are really informed compared to the people at Reddit, who I find are mostly uninformed and more into the emotional joy of insulting each other. So here's a mature discussion of these things. And as I read, I find a couple of statements being made that I don't agree with. Now, I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm saying I don't agree with them. One of the points of view that's being promoted here is that sort of all stemmed points are pretty much the same. They're all, the same technology. Some of them are used for knives and drills. They aren't really used for projectile points, and that may be true, but I find that there's kind of a limited amount of actual careful observation goes into this statement that, all of these things are the same. And just as a side comment, they're saying that Brewerton points always show up with these small stem points. And I would say that's not true. In Concord, Mass, there's plenty of Brewertons, and I never saw a single one of these small stemmed points. Maybe once, one of them. So, you can develop points of view that are idiosyncratic to the sites that you know and aren't really generalizable statements. But if you look at this thing, what a beauty. Look at that. Now mine's dirty and stained, but it's got a similar nice shape. And I'm going to go look at the shapes more carefully in a moment, because I want to tell you that these are not all the same, and I'm of the point of view that these differences are representing different people, different styles of doing things, and that the fact that things are found together just means that they're all traveling by the same canoes, and they all could see a landing site when they passed one and go, oh, people have camped up there. So, for example, I would say that's why the Brewertons are found in association with small stem points, because the Brewerton people were traveling the same brooks and rivers that the small stem point people were traveling, although not in Concord. So I want to go take a closer look at the examples of stemmed and shouldered points that I have from southern New England. I wanted to take a closer look at this quartz arrowhead I found yesterday. I don't know if that's in focus, but I was trying to decide, is that just a squib knocket with no shoulders, just a stem, a bit of a stem? Or is that a single shouldered thing with a little bit of a shoulder on that side? Does it matter? I'm going to show you that it does matter. There's a significant difference which you don't see from overhead. You have to turn the thing sideways in order to notice it. See how the tip was thinned, but the base was thinned too from this direction. You can see that. And so I got curious about other stemmed points that I do think are squib knockets, whether they were thinned like that or not. So let's go take a look at the things I found in the last several months. I made myself a new carrying case for 2024. This is the way I keep my arrowheads. I should have made a video about how to make these little satchels. They're kind of fun. I'm being ambitious by leaving off maybe 40 different slots, but I've filled something over here which you haven't seen, and several things over here which you have seen. And I'm gonna sort of say, let's take a look at these. These are mostly, there's a shouldered point, no thinning of the base from the side view, but it's shouldered because it's got a shoulder on it from the outline. Little one, This is your typical squib knocket here, I guess. So you ask yourself, has it been thinned from the side? And the answer is no, not particularly. What about this guy? It's got some shouldering, but is it thinned at the base? No, not particularly, not noticeably. And then I come across this one here, which is single-shouldered, a little bit like the one I have from before. A beautiful arrowhead, really. And if you look from the side, there's that same thinning going on. These quartz points, they sort of thick here and thick here, but they're thin there and there. And that is a single-shouldered point. And I'm going to say this guy that I just found is in the same category as that. And my fellow collectors who say, oh, they're all the same, and they're same as the people who made Brewerton points, I want to just say, I don't agree. I think Brewertons are distinct from that, and I think single-shouldered points, and I could show you some others from where I found this one, are a different beast. They're probably not all that different, but I think munging everything together doesn't help see the beautiful differences between things. So you get that. And this guy, although it's still out because I'm still cherishing the moment of having found it, it will go into that slot when I'm done making videos and done admiring it. So there you go. The way you make one of these satchels is you double a piece of cloth and you sew it out and you sew it back and forth and you cut little slots. And there's other ways to make these things that are perhaps better, but you need a nice sort of stiff material. Someday I'll have more to say on that if necessary. So, in the meantime, I'm so happy to have found a beautiful arrowhead. It's dirty, and I tried to clean it off, but this has been lying in some sort of moss for a long enough time that it's kind of deeply embedded in the material. So it's not as pretty a crystal as the guy from arrowheads.com's arrowhead. But I got mine.